coming up on this episode of Free Lunch.
Delete. I panicked.
Okay. All right.
And it was like, whatever. I'm just going to push for I don't know what I want to do. I went to high school, started getting bullied 24/7. You didn't even talk about Christ before, but now you got a hoodie that's about Christ, and now we having a full conversation.
This guy right here. My freshman transcript from UConn, my GPA is like 0.2 something.
My biggest problem is probably just trying to figure out where God wants me now.
Wait, this is like the sermon segment. You got to save that for the sermon segment.
LOL.
People ain't got their tithes and offering ready, you know. And if you're like me, you have that good that hidden skill set where you can make broke look good.
But there's variety, right?
I make it look good. It look like it's $1,000,
Look like a little Mason Mars.
But I could get you this look for $2.99. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Freestyle Gospel, aka The Real Free, with another episode of Free Lunch. I have my really dope bro here. Jayden is in the building. Give it up for Jayden, y'all.
Hey guys.
What up?
I feel glad to be here. This is my first podcast.
Really, it's your first podcast. As famous as you are, this is your first podcast. I don't believe you.
I mean, I've been behind the camera. That's just for pictures. I do fashion. I don't do podcasts. So
I feel like with the sexy voice you have on, you've definitely done something on the microphone because
I sing.
Yeah.
This is the only thing I do behind the microphone.
Well, this isn't like singing. This is not like the serenade part of a song. This is like.
Would you rather I talk like this?
No, I just rather that you actually spoke up and actually spoke.
I got you.
Into the mic,
All right.
Yeah. This isn't Sunday, which, by the way, you totally killed it Sunday.
I really appreciate that, man. Glory to God.
Yeah, I know Jayden from church. He's a pretty big deal over there.
You think so?
I think so. Well, I mean, my audience doesn't necessarily really know who you are, Jayden. So maybe just introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, maybe what your gifts are, to the people so they know the awesomeness.
So my name is Jayden. I go by Striz. That's my fashion handle, Style Striz on Instagram. So primarily what I do is I'm a Christian who wants to change the world through fashion or whatever my influence may be. So when it comes to fashion, I like to promote all types of content, whether it's high-end fashion, whether it's styling, or even my own brand, Style by Striz, the LLC, where I make my own clothing, which are all based off of Christian backing. So my first piece was a shattered heart, which was based off of Psalm 147, verse 17, that God heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. I got a new piece coming. We're not going to talk too much about that.
Is that already released?
The Shattered Heart?
Yeah.
So that one I've been working on for a couple of years now. So I pushed it out officially during the pandemic. And that's when I first started my backup. I had my website going. I was partnered with a company called Bonfire. And as of right now, I kind of fell back from that a little bit because I was starting to get a little push for my styling stuff. So as far as my styling tips, my creative mind, I guess, when it comes to clothes, is kind of what I'm doing now. So I make reels, I take pictures for a living, and it's like, it's so fun. Being able to take people shopping is like an opportunity that's unmatched. Because to be the people that you really never expect.
So you actually do that? Take people shopping?
Yeah. So recently, I'll talk about my last client. I work at Home Depot, right?
Yeah.
So I work in self-checkout for fun. And it's like every time I'm talking to people, it's like, yo, hi, how are you? I try to get my little 60 seconds out. Like, you want a Home Depot credit card? Oh, yeah. Like, oh, you don't want a discount?
Yeah.
Well, I'll throw you one on my brand. They're like, oh, you got a brand? I'm like, yeah, but I also style people in case you're not in the hoodies. They're like, oh, word? So there was a guy that I cleaned. He came in, took my number down. He starts texting me. Yo, he's showing me his whole closet at his house. He's like, yo, I got all this stuff for all these gifts. My wife gets me all these clothes, but I don't care about clothes.
Wow.
I wear sweats. So he's showing me all this stuff. So I'm like, yo, you could just wear that. You could wear this. You could wear this. You could wear that. And then he's like, yo, so how much do you charge to go out? I was like, a little more than I'm going to charge you for just having a little tip. So I was like, yo, just give me $20. I mean, you could just buy me lunch. Calm. Because this was just me helping you out for fun.
Yeah.
And now it's like he came into my job today and he was like, yo, I wore that outfit you talked about the other day. I took my wife out on a date. And he took her to the steakhouse I recommended, Cast Iron on State Street.
He's got the food recommendations also, folks. Okay.
So he took her over there and he's like, yo, we took pictures. He's showing me the pictures and the fit. And I'm like, yo, that looked pretty tough. And he was happy about it. But it's like that right there is kind of what I'm pushing now so I can get my styling little repertoire out.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this is my portfolio. Yo, this guy got this out of his closet. but I put it together.
That's fire.
So
Style by Striz.
Style by Striz.
So it's more than just like, you having designs and having like some t-shirt clothing brand, like the billion other people.
Like everybody does that.
Everybody does that.
And it's like, yo, I got a tee. You want to support me? Like, and it's like you look at your friends like, yo, just because you're in my circle, you got to tap in. But I feel like that's, if you're expecting your friends to be your only network, you're never going to get far. So if you have something that makes people want to talk to you, that's not going to really cost them money.
Facts.
Consulting, we could do that. And then if you really want to pay money, we can go shopping. And if you see the prices of the clothes that I wear, I'm not spending $600 on Louis. Well, I got a hoodie for $100. That comparison is like, yo, you know what? And then what's the hoodie about? And it has meaning to it. Now I just indirectly brought Christ in the middle of the conversation, and you don't notice it. But it's like, yo, now you got something that you could bring out in public. People see my brand and ask you, oh, where you got that? What's that about? You didn't even talk about Christ before, but now you got a hoodie that's about Christ, and now we having a full conversation.
This guy right here. So again, because the audience, this is the first time they're getting a chance to hear you, do you mind sharing with how old are you?
I'm 22.
22 years old. Are you in school?
So I graduated from Gateway this December. Okay. So I just finished that right around my birthday, actually. My birthday was December 8th. I graduated 2 days after.
Phenomenal.
So I actually walked this May.
Congratulations.
But as far as the graduation gifts, I'm still accepting those.
Okay.
Aside from school, I was trying to go to FIT. I sadly did not get in for the spring semester, but God's timing.
Now, what's FIT? I'm not familiar with that.
The Fashion Institute of Technology, which is out in New York. So that's where I wanted to go for school. I was like, I'm going to take up fashion business management. I'm going to study what I got to study. Yeah. I'm going to come back, Tommy Hilfiger, Tommy who?
So what's for a school like that, is it like your traditional, application process to get in? Like when you said, I didn't get into that school, like what was that based on? Like, or do you even know that? Do they tell you why?
I don't know. And part of me wasn't really as pressed. So I've been in school for college for about 4.5 years. And it was because I switched my major kind of twice. So by the time I had gotten out, I didn't want to push the school like that. So when I didn't get in immediately, I kind of didn't fight it. I was like, maybe this will be my time to really figure out what I want to do with fashion first before I just try to leap out and go to school for it. But primarily, that's like your traditional, you go through your regular college process, submit an essay, you go through the application.
Okay.
They talk to you, whatever.
But because it's a fashion-oriented school, like, is there some...
special portfolios type
thing? Like you got to, like art schools, you got to submit some portfolio of some kind.
I don't know if what it would be like for the other departments, but I know for fashion business management, when I applied, I didn't have to do all that stuff. So I wasn't complaining, but... Okay. I wasn't mad. I submitted an essay.
Hey, well, you get another opportunity. Just, I imagine, apply more than once, and keep going. But so you're 22 years old. You did some school, finished that. You walk in May, doing the fashion thing. At 22 years old, I imagine like your other peers that are in your age, like right now. Well, you know what? I won't even talk about your peers. Mm-hmm. I'll be specific and actually just focus you for a second. Mm-hmm. At your age that you are right now, for you in your life, what do you think is at the top of the list of things you're trying to figure out for you? Like right now, like just as far as logistics of like the next 5 years. Some people, who are your age, I'm just throwing things out there, could maybe be trying to figure out what it is they actually want to do to make a living for their life. It seems like you kind of have that already figured out, at least that part. So for you, kind of already having like a business model strategy almost for like the fashion, the styling, and how you want to approach it and how you want to be different, what would you say is still kind of left for you to figure out? Like what's your dilemma?
That's a good question. I guess part of me my biggest problem is probably just trying to figure out where God wants me now, because I'm kind of at that point where it's like, okay, like high school, well, not matter of fact, middle school, like everybody's like, oh, what do you want to be? What high school do you want to go to? Like, do you want to go trade? Do you want to go where? Because you're trying to figure out what you want to do. And at that point, it's like, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a cop. I want to do this. I want to be a nurse.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I want to go in, I don't know. Because it was like, that's what I was singing, but I was too shy to sing. So I didn't sing in the choir. I didn't sing anywhere else because I was too scared.
Yeah.
So it's like I had to.
Now he not shy singing in the choir.
So it was like, when was it? It was like mid 8th grade year. I had put in an audition to The Voice. I heard back from them. They said I can go out there to New York to go sing with them, like for the next step.
Okay.
But I did it with my friend, and we didn't get in.
When you say you did it with your friend, like you did a duo?
We did 2 separate videos. Mine got accepted. Theirs didn't.
Oh, okay. So you didn't do like a song together.
No.
Okay.
So, but I was like, it was one of those like you're in like, and I got in trouble a lot. So we're in detention. We're just chilling there. You know, I'm in detention. I get my first email saying, hey, like we're considering this was a phone submission. They were like, we're considering this, whatever. Like, so let's go.
So you both got that. They're considering it.
I got that.
Oh, he didn't even get the consideration email.
So
no, okay.
It was one of those.
You get that,
like,
and then what?
I didn't have the confidence to even want to sing by myself because the only reason why I had the confidence was because my friend had told me.
How long ago was this?
This was 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, yo, delete. I panicked.
Okay. All right.
And it was like, whatever. I'm just going to push for I don't know whatever I want to do. I went to high school, started getting bullied 24/7. Wasn't fly, didn't know how to dress. I was like, yo, I got this pair of shoes. I got that. I just don't bring them out the house. Like I got these at the crib. Like, oh, you got foams on?
Yeah,
bro, I got like 10 pair of those, bro. Capping my whole way through high school, and I used to get picked on. So it was like, yo, like, oh, he's a cornball. Like, yo, he's mad annoying. He's too friendly. Like, why is he here? Like, get out of our circle. Like, leave us alone. And it was like little stuff like that was like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna show y'all that I'm more than a cornball. So like, part of my high school was like, I want to grow mentally to a point where I'm kind of confident enough in who I am. So I started like kind of breaking down clothes. Cutting stuff. Yeah, I used to.
Connect that for me of how you go from there in that kind of space to, fast forward to now and being in a place where you like how could you be in a place right now where it's like, hey, I don't know what God wants me to do or where God wants me to be. Like when you say that, explain what that means to you, because somebody can interpret that the wrong way.
So
you're saying you don't know necessarily what it is for you to do or where you are to be. Right now. And to be meaning like we're like in a literal sense, like physically, like should I be in school right now or should I be like how do you mean that?
Like what I should be doing specifically to find out where I should be, whether it's a location or just a mindset while I'm at the location that I'm at. So it's like when I was going through those phases of trying to adapt to try and become the fashion kid. Yeah. It's like now it's like, okay, go to college for like everything that seemed like it was in stone, like the routine of how you would get to where you would go. Yeah. High school degree, college degree, then you go to school. It was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to FIT.
This question of where you should like be or where you should go to figure out where you need to be, has this been something that has been more like a recent question you asked yourself, or is this like even the maybe past couple years where you were at Gateway going through college, were you also asking that same question that time?
I think it was hard because in that middle phase of like when I first started college, I didn't want to go because I didn't apply to FIT because in my high school, I was so worried about everything else, like, relationships, like it was stuff that was distracting me from the grades that I needed to go to FIT first and to even go to school. So I ended up at Gateway. I was like, yo, I don't want to go here. Okay. And it's like then at that point, it was like, okay, like every bit of task that I felt that I had like kind of gotten to kind of shattered at one point. So it's like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I here? And that's where like the kind of pausing shift in my time kind of brought that question back up because I got comfortable at Gateway, which is why I switched. I was like, yo, I'm marketing. Then I'm general studies guy. I just want to graduate. And then I'm going to go do fashion. I started doing the fashion. I started being a little flyer, I guess. Yeah. And it was kind of like, I'm fly. Like, I don't need to go to school for this. Like, I'm just, I'm going to do this,
Born
that, and third.
Fly.
Then it was like, okay, I want to go to school. I got the motivation back. But then it's like, oh, shoot, I'm about to graduate.
I mean, but even like now, with technology and everything really being so social media based and driven, people making millions of dollars literally off just Instagram pages. For you, like, what's the gain? like what do you seek to gain from the experience of going to FIT? And like you said, you've already done a couple years of college. Your plan is to go to FIT and get more college experience, where someone else your age might be like, dude, why bother?
Yeah. So
how are you making sense of it? Where do you see the efficacy in that, like the benefit?
I think where I'm at now is like I'm kind of at that line in the sand, but I'm standing over it. And it's like part of me is like,
You're straddling it, you mean?
Yeah, it's like
I got one foot on one side and the other foot on the other side.
And then it's like the other side is like, wait, I think I figured out, like I think I can really see where God is telling me I can go here without that education phase, but I still have to make sure that I'm being productive in that interim, so that if on any level that I get that little go, like, okay, this door is open for you, like you're not too far to just go back. It's like, all right, so be productive, work on your stuff, but still be fruitful in a sense where like I'm growing in my word a little more, so that the call is not going to come from FIT, it's going to come from Christ. So it's like I'm working on my walk with Christ.
Dropping bars.
Kind of.
All right.
I'm trying to get like you.
Wait, this is like the sermon segment. You got to save that for the sermon segment.
LOL.
People ain't got their tithes and offering ready,
10%.
I ain't got a collection plate in the studio here.
But so that's kind of where
So
I'm at.
so what I love is that a young man your age is seeking God in that facet of life. And I literally, obviously not knowing you were going to mention that today, but literally in a phone call I was having with someone else in the studio before you showed up, I told them, I said, look, the Word of God talks about, seeking God in all our ways. And many times I think people, over spiritualize that part to think like only for like, spiritual things, right? Or like healing or things. But like even the small things of life, the practical things of life, decisions of life, like the everyday thoughts, like, hey, like what school should I go to? Let me seek God in all my ways, including that. Let me seek God. I don't think many people, let alone people your age, think that they can hear from God and get guidance from God there. Huh?
Because it's not here. Like if it's like it's different. Like if I'm face to face with you, right?
Yeah.
And you tell me, like, in order to be on the podcast, I have to keep this microphone here so they can hear me.
Yeah.
But like if you say, yo, if you want to be successful in work, school, everything else, you got to keep Christ close. That sounds good, but then when you get the job and like your manager's like, oh yeah,
well, I mean, you know what that is? I think that's
in front of you.
That's what we call, being missing the metaphor, right? Is like things just get stuck, or not even missing the metaphor, but kind of like being stuck in the metaphor. I think people, they hear things that are commonly said or spoken, and they just get caught up in the poetry of it, right?
Literally.
And there's no way, and not to their fault. So many times they have no practical way of how do I do that, right? So you say, hey, you just keep God first. What does that mean? You literally gave me no instruction.
No detail.
You think you gave me an instruction. Hey, how do I do that?
I gave you a title.
You know how you do it? You keep God first. Okay. You literally gave me no instruction. You just gave me something that sounded dope, and I believe you.
Sounds great.
But tell me actually, for Jayden, how is Jayden doing that? Like, what do you do to get in position to get guidance from God? Like when you say to me, hey, I'm looking for God to like give me the answer or tell me what, like practically, how are you positioning yourself to receive that message when God is ready to give you that guidance? Like, what does that look like for you?
I think it looks like fellowship. Like no matter, like that sounds so goofy to be like, oh yeah, like, I'm trying to learn, but like fellowship just sounds like a hangout, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go fellowship with my brothers.
Fellowship with other
people, right? So like, if I was to say like, oh yeah,
you're saying that's the way, one of the practical steps you're doing to hear from God.
Yeah, partially.
Okay.
Because like if you just hear fellowship, you think that, oh yeah, like, okay, I'm gonna go converse with some people, but like you don't know what I'm really meaning by that. So like if I break it down, I'm really saying that fellowship is the way that I keep Christ not only practical but first, because it's easy to fellowship with anybody, right?
And that's what I would imagine is that with and I could be jumping ahead here, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that fellowship in your mind, are you seeing that as, almost like a setting where God could speak through someone else in that fellowship setting?
Yeah.
To you?
You're kind of getting where I was going. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was going to say that like the same thing that you said, like in that same fellowship, but in that space, when you don't have any detail to what fellowship is, it just sounds like either a location. It gives too much room for you to interpretate on your own.
Yes.
But interpret on your own. But it's like, for me, knowing that I'm in church so often, like I have a lot of friends. I love the fact that I have a lot of friends. I can play ball with a lot of friends. I can sit here and go sing with a lot of friends, go to the studio with friends.
All your friends in church?
And that's the thing. So that's my little niche where I had to find my place in fellowship. My version of fellowshipping can't just be with the fellows that I'm out with. Because I can hang with people, but like when it comes down to me trying to keep Christ first, if you're not seeking that same thing, then how are we growing? And it's like my fellowshipping, if I'm at church, you'll see me in conversation with like pastors and like leaders. And it's not just because I'm just like, oh yeah, like, hey guys, like, how are you? My name's Jayden. But it's because I'm genuinely like, I'm trying to see how you do it. So that when I'm looking at myself, like, I know to a point where we talk so much in Christ that I know that if I'm going left, like, we can come back together because I know where you're at in that fellowship. We've developed that bond.
You know what? Not to cut you off, but have you watched or have been hearing about, at least on Netflix, that new TV show Bel Air? It's supposed to be like the Fresh Prince spinoff, whatever. Right? Have you heard of it? Have you watched it?
Bro, I saw one episode and it was like his kicks just weren't hitting for me.
But the episode it's a great story. Me and the wife have been watching it, and just like listening to you, watching you, and just because I know a whole lot of the growing years about you. There's this saying that the mother says, Will Smith, the character that's supposed to play Will Smith, or the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. His mom says this thing, and I'm like paraphrasing, but it's something to the effect of, you have to be, your crown is out there like waiting for you, and you have to, find out, are you ready to take your crown, to take up your crown, and I say that jumped in my head, because I feel like from much of the younger place version of you that I've watched you come from and develop over the years, it's really, really amazing to get a chance to watch and see how you have developed the way you have right now. So one, big up to you. I'm very proud of you to see that. And I think, to your point, what you brought up about being in kind of those circles or kind of trying to rub shoulders with some of those other individuals, has contributed to that. Has been able to make that happen, that growth or that maturity. My hope is that there are many other young people that are your age that get that proximity piece, right? Like, many times, I think not just, on a spiritual level, God is speaking to us or giving us guidance through speaking through other people. But I think many times we also get practical, just human development, tips, advice, on directions to go from just having proximity around individuals that are maybe navigating some of the spaces that we want to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Just getting proximity. So not like school in a professor's lecture hall per se, where it's really, you could be sitting in the hall or attending, you could get accepted to the school all you want, but unless you're inside the lecture hall, right? Simply getting accepted to the school. That's doing you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, for instance, I keep actually this transcript in my book bag, and it's from my freshman year at UConn in stores. In this transcript, try to guess my GPA. My freshman year.
We're going high or low?
Just try to guess what my GPA was.
In the middle, I'm gonna say like a 2.7.
He said in the middle, but say like a 2.7. My freshman transcript from UConn, my GPA is like 0.2 something.
Was it 2.7?
I can't remember.
We're just gonna say 2.7, so I feel close.
Yeah. So I say that to say I got accepted. I got in. I was there on the campus, but I wasn't in class. I wasn't. So I had more of that separation distance from the professors, from the teachers, the people that I was meant to get something from. And they were, I was paying them good money for it too. And just, I just didn't have the proximity. And I think sometimes, again, just getting that, like, who knows how much better, I probably still wouldn't have, I ended up, getting kicked out of the school because of my academic grades. So, I probably, it might not have risen to the event where I didn't get kicked out, but had I simply just took myself from sitting in my dorm room to closer proximity and just sat in the class, don't take out no notebook, don't write notes, don't do anything. But had I just came to the class.
Had you have been present.
And heard, just been present, I believe that my GPA and grades would have been higher. Again, how much higher, I don't know. But, sometimes just being in the right setting, putting yourself there. For somebody like your age, though, those younger years or even present years, right? I imagine you still do that. You still practice that. Why do you think people your age may not do that? What do you think could keep them hung up from daring to just put themselves in the space? Like, let me just stand here. Let me just come and listen. Even like, cause like we could always say like, younger people or young adults are lazy, they're tired, but we're not even talking about you actually doing anything. Like, come volunteer. We're not saying any of that. We're saying what would be the hindrance you think in people's minds and their, thought process that would keep them from even just showing up to be in the company. Has that ever even been a hiccup or hang up for you? Like, or have you always been, since a little kid, just bold and always throwing yourself in the company of like older people?
Bold, but for not saying I was crazy. I wasn't bad. Like, I never just, was outside just selling crack and nothing. But I liked to disobey the rules enough to brag on the loopholes. Like, I did law through half of high school, like half of my programs. And it was like I was good at debating, arguing, proving points. And it was, I used to find pleasure in it. So there was times that like I specifically...
Yeah, I remember that version of Jada. Yeah, okay.
So there was times where like, even like an example, I remember my old math teacher, she was such a sweet lady, but it was like at the time, it was like she got mad at me.
Hated her.
He said he hated her. Not trying. And was like, oh, like, you're not doing anything. You have so much potential. You're wasting it. You're going to fail this class because you don't know anything. You don't do your homework. You don't do this, that, and the third. I'm like, what do I need to do to pass? She's like, you need at least a B because I'm not going to give you a pass with a C because if you sit here and fail the final and the test before, like, I'm just going to give you the F that you have now. I'm like, word. So what do I need to pass? You need at least a C on the final, and then on the last test, you need an A, but you're not going to get that because you had an F on this. I said, sis, I didn't try. And part of the reason why I think, to answer your question originally, as to why it's so hard for people, is because they don't try. Because there's a lot of things that, like...
Yeah, but what's making them not try?
So, Pete, some of it might just be fear, of really doing your best consistently. So with that class
But you're not even having to do anything. I'm just talking about being in the presence.
So, Pete, in order to be in the presence, that requires you to get up. So that means that in order for you to get up out of your comfort zone, like if you're in your dorm and you're comfortable, you'd have to try your best to get there, which means that whether it's raining,
Gotta snatch the covers off.
you have to do that. And it's like, you also have to get up. And it's like, God got you up enough to scroll on your phone.
He woke you up. Now
So
you
it's
got to
like-
get you up.
But you got to get up. And it's like, there's so many steps that people overlook to getting to class that you just think are so casual. But those are things that you low-key
Facts.
need to do because, like, you have to get up. You have to wake up. You got to wash your face. You got to clean up. You got to do what you got to do. Even if you don't.
Facts.
Even if you're the sloppiest person alive, you go to school with yesterday's clothes and could care less. You still have to put them back on, get out of where you're going, go to class, get there, be present on time, enough for attendance, and at least look prepared. And then when you get there, it's so easy. And this is another thing about society's issue, is that subconsciously we judge and think that it's so easy to just be present, but it's not. Like, so it would seem so much easier for you to have been in that class just to be present and done better.
Nah, it was def hard.
But when the teacher, even for the kid who skips 5 classes, goes on the 6th,
I skipped all of them.
that comment, when you don't skip and you go into class, oh, now you show up? Or everybody's looking at you like you're the weird kid, or they ask you, okay, what are you going to do? And then you know that conversation that you're going to have with the teacher after class about all the missed assignments you have, all the things you're not doing. And it's like, if that's something that you don't want to deal with.
All the looks you're going to get coming in late.
Yeah, and it's like the stuff that, like, or then when you come in, and even if you come in and you try your best to be fully present, you participate, you raise your hand, even if you know what they're talking about because you've been studying at home.
Yeah.
They're going to look at you like, yo, who is this kid? No matter whether you're good or not. Like, yo, who does he think he is? He skipped all semester. Then you come in and don't show up. Yo, why did he even bother coming? And it's like, no matter what you do, since you're going to be judged regardless, if you're not ready to be present enough that you're there for the class and not for the judgment that comes with the class, you're not going to go.
Yeah, but, I definitely have to agree with you about the, I don't even want to call it your mind playing tricks on you, but you're because it's not a trick, it's actual reality that people encounter, is when you dare enough to kind of get yourself up and take even just like one step. Many times you will have, people mocking you. If they're not mocking you, looking at you weird, scoffing you. Saying, how you said, saying, slick comments or whatever, because you're trying and maybe your effort in trying is late, or maybe your effort is not at the extent theirs are, or whatever it is. I know that's how I psyched myself out a lot of times when I skipped, every single class. Is one, it was because when I finally did wake up to my alarm clock that had been going off for 2 hours, I was like, I already missed the first 2 classes. So you know what? Why even bother getting up? I'll just miss the rest of the day. Try again tomorrow.
I remember my teacher told me, if you're ever going to be late, you might as well be late as possible because there's no point in showing up if you're not on time. Wow. And like, even though they said crazy. That, subconsciously trying to get the kids to come on time to their class, to the kids who might be struggling to make it on time, that's going to make us not show up at all.
You're just not going to show up.
And like, your intentions were good, but the way you said that to somebody who's already broken or dealing with something, you just backtracked us.
And that's what I did constantly. I would wake up late, and since you're up late, why bother? And just miss another day. Full days of like all of my 6 classes or whatever. There was one class that I actually did make every time. 2. And one was my gospel choir elective.
You sing?
And my Latin American history. And that was only because those 2 were my classes in the evening. So I had the bulk of my classes in the morning. And then I had these 2 off classes that were like at 7 o'clock in the evening on campus. Like 7, one at 6 or something.
Me in Latin, bro.
Yeah.
I failed that class twice.
So, that makes sense to me. It's something that I've experienced myself. I would imagine, if I could quarterback it and go back in time and say like what could have been a remedy for that. I think if I was to help someone right now, whether another 22-year-old or, someone older, being challenged with taking the first step because I'm worried about people rolling their eyes, sucking their teeth, making slick comments, right? I would say you have to keep your attention and your focus on you, on what you need from that space, on what God is trying to give you, right? Like, so let's say if you were hungry, starving, and, you know, whether it be, you know, God in front of you holding a loaf of bread or, you know, whoever you want, but you're starving. You need this bread. You know you need the bread, and the person holding the bread, handing it, extending their arm out to you, they know you need the bread. Okay?
I even want the bread.
And you're constantly distracted from moving closer to taking the bread because someone on the sideline is looking at you going, oh my God, you gonna eat that?
School lunch.
Oh my God. We let the sideline voice, not even voice all the time, the sideline looks distract us so much from the thing that is good for us.
Yeah.
The thing that we pass even good for us sometimes, the thing that we need. It's not even subjective. It's like, no, this is not a matter of like want or desire. This is like you need this. So it might not be college, right? You know, we have a billion people who've proven like you don't need college to be successful. But kind of working on this principle, you applying the same principle either space, whether you're someone in college or you're on your own trying to be an entrepreneur or creative in some space, whatever, you know, you're getting mocked about being late to the show, or you're being given dirty looks from the sideline about why bother, whatever it is, but it's the thing that you need to have, get, or do. You got to have that focus. You have to have the mindset has to be, I'm doing this for me. I need this. This is for me. It's not about them. And I think the mistake, though, is that some of the things we do, like me, in my experience being the freshman in college, I was only there at that time because that's what my parents wanted me to do. And so it made it all the worse for me to think about the potential scoffing or dirty looks or what you showing up late for is because it was embarrassing.
And it's like at that point, I don't even really want to be here. Like, I have to be here.
So think about how that thought, how I really feel, even makes it easier to not show up.
Yeah.
Not only am I late, I'm so late, so why even bother? But on top of that thought, the next thought is, and I don't even want to be here anyway.
Yeah. So why not go?
And I think it's the same thing that trips up many people in other settings or contexts.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, one, thinking of you, what it is you want to do, and it has to actually be true. I'm not doing this because I just want people to give me compliments.
Yeah.
Because if I'm just doing that to people give me compliments, if you know, Jayden is over here dressing fly every day just so people can give him compliments, what happens when he enters a day or enters a space where nobody happens to compliment him? So now the Style by Striz, the whole conglomerate, amazing entity, vision God gave him to build this thing and include Christ, does that suddenly just go in the trash because he entered a space one day where nobody gave him a compliment?
Bro, you touching on a space that I was just having a conversation about because I was at work today, and so I just got this new position that I applied for, and I just got it.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to start it, but they were saying, like, so where I'm at, like, I advocate for credit cards. Like, you know, I do marketing, but, like, I really do, not just because the job tells me to, sometimes I really do try to promote the credit cards because I really try to help somebody out. And it's like I did a good job that numerically, I did better than all my associates for the most part. Except for, like, one or two, but, you know, they were there longer than me.
Okay.
But it was like this entire week that I got the position, I'm not even gonna lie, I've been feeling like I was off because I haven't sold a credit card all week. And it's like at that point, it's like if I base everything off of the accolades, in my head I'm like, yo, am I even about to go for this position? Because like I haven't sold a credit card in 2 days.
Wow.
I was averaging 10 balls, 15. Then it's like I was, even at minimum, I was getting at least 4 or 5. And it's like on the day that I had my interview yesterday, I had 0. And then today, I worked the whole shift, and everybody's congratulating me for getting this new position, and I'm still in my old position because I haven't started it yet, and I still have 0. So it's like in my head, it's like, this is really how I know that I'm comfortable in Christ enough, because if I was in high school and I was like really trying to get my accolades up for fashion, and somebody just stopped complimenting me right when I was still weak, I never would have got dressed again.
Never.
I never would have sold another credit card. I would have just stopped. Yo, take back the position. I'm not ready for that. because the expectations you have for me there, I won't be able to meet because I can't even maintain what I'm doing here. But because I feel like God is putting me in that position, I'm not really mad at myself. But my flesh is still reminding me, like, yo, you ain't sold a card all week. You're not good enough for that. But that's still stuff that's been put in me since I was a kid of saying, yo, like, you did this, this, and this. You're not ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even in all confidence, they'll be like, oh, yeah, like, you got that. Like, yo, that's really your alley. And it's like, no, it's not. Because if it was up to me, I wouldn't have put the application in.
Facts.
Because part of me still has doubts of what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
And that's like an everyday thing. Like, I wake up and I'm like, yo, I feel like
I don't think that that's like necessarily, you know, to say, you know, you're doing something bad or that is bad.
I think it's natural.
I think, you know, when we try to quantify every single part of this human existence as good or bad, I think we torture ourselves. Yeah, I think we torture ourselves a lot there. I think, you know, but that's why the Bible says, right, for us to, you know, glory in our infirmities, like, you know, to praise God in our time of weakness, right? Because it provides two opportunities. One, it provides us a space or revelation of a space for us to grow in, right? So, you know, whether, you know, it's revealed to us to keep us humble, or the second thing is it provides the best thing is it provides a space for us to recognize the strength of God.
Yeah.
Right. So here is a space where I am like weak or I feel not so capable, and then God is able to enter that space.
And he's able to like kind of like
right. But if we have this kind of mindset, like every single place where I realize I'm weak or where I'm not as strong as I'd like to be, as, oh my God, I'm horrible, or oh, I'm bad, or I'm disgusting, or I suck, right? Then God isn't glorified. You know, he like in that weak space, in that incapable space is where he loves to be capable.
Showing off. Because at that point, it's not about us. You know,
exactly.
It's like even when you said that I'm good at singing, it's like, if I sit here and just drop a video, right? A singing video, and it's like, yo, everybody comments like, yo, that was fire, that was fire, that was fire. But then I go get on the platform for worship.
Yeah.
Those are two different things. Same voice.
Yes.
But it's like the backing behind it. One was me just trying to, you know, have fun, right?
Yeah.
But one is me kind of reminding everybody like, yo, even in the midst of me having fun, this is where it came from.
Okay.
And it's like, if you're not really
respect that,
trusting
facts,
where God really kind of gave you that space when you were weak. Because there's times where I feel like I don't drop singing videos often. And people are like, oh yeah, is it because you do fashion? No, it's because when I record a video at home, I watch it 100 times, delete, and will not post because I'm bashing myself.
Like, yo,
but worship is like...
trash that.
I'm not singing for the comments.
It's too much lint on that outfit.
You feel me? It's like, I'm doing it, and it's like, for this one, it's like, yo, you know what, like... This is for Christ. It's like, yo, this is live. Like, if I mess up, I can't just go back and watch the video and delete it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's where it reminds me, like, yo, Christ doesn't care about the deleted footage. He loves that. He just loves the fact that you're still singing.
You hear this young boy. You hear this man right here, this young man. He said God doesn't care about the deleted footage.
He just cares about the heart that made the video.
If you guys see that on my Facebook status tomorrow morning, you know where I got it from. That's a hashtag, bro. You guys say that again, bro.
God doesn't care about the deleted footage. You want to say me in a smooth voice?
God doesn't care about the deleted footage, man. That's crazy. I just want to meditate on that for a second. Wow. The deleted footage. When I hear that though, it makes me think about like this difficulty for this present like generation coming up of the difficulty this present generation coming up now that I think has with being authenticity, because everything has like a filter. You're able to, like you said, go on, whether you're making a TikTok post or an Instagram post, you can like delete it 1 billion times before anybody sees it, right? And so you could always have your best self out there. Everybody sees the beautiful, amazing footage or picture, whatever it is, and that's contagious. That stuff, right? Like, what I mean by what's contagious is the piece that where people watching you, they want to have or do what it looks like you have or do, not knowing they're not privy to the deleted stuff.
They're not, or they don't
Like,
even
they don't
really
get to
wanna
see
look
that.
at it. And then they think that when they do it and they have the deleted stuff, they're like, yo, now they're bashing
I'm so
themselves double
trash.
time. It's like, yo, like, I can't
Look
just
at
be
this.
like,
No,
why?
no. But I'd even take it a step further, right? And
There we
say
go.
people watching, they don't get to see the deleted footage in the literal sense from what is on the post, right? But they don't get to see the deleted or hidden footage that's happening in your living room, in your bedroom. All they get is the filtered reality that's on social media, right? And I think it's really, really refreshing when you do have these platforms and you come across somebody who is extremely transparent or authentic, courageous in that way, because you definitely have to be courageous to be this authentic in this day and age. But there's this creator that I follow on social media, Jabi. Shout out to Jabi. I'll make sure I'll tag her down in here for you guys to follow her. But she on her TikTok, man, taking leaps and bounds of transparency, bro. And I think God has blessed her platform so much as a result of it. But right, like that evil and good is present at the same time, whole like paradigm, right? So there's been I've seen some of her posts where she like talks about people coming at her, in a negative way for some of the transparency things she's been transparent about. But it gives so much glory to God, right? And I think people don't really calculate or think out in their mind like what it means to when they sing songs like "Be a Living Sacrifice." Like for God, like that song is beautiful. It sounds poetic, but it's meant to be more than poetry, though. Like it's supposed to be way more than poetry. And if you take it past the poetry and just actually literally think about what it would mean to be a living
sacrifice,
like be alive while being sacrificed, like burned on an altar or something, and being alive, like that's not really pretty.
not fun.
There's a very nasty, ugly part to that. But the beauty lies in the glory that we're able to again set aside for God when we are courageous enough to do that.
You like while you were talking, like even in like relation to the first question you asked me, with the why do I think some people don't do certain things, especially with my generation. I think that it's hard, even for myself. Like just think about the news, right? Like when you look at like say any news clip, like a spoof, like a funny news clip, and like they'll start the clip, cameras here, and they're here with whatever backdrop, right? And the second the clip ends, chair goes back, cameras roll out, and it's a whole different room. Like whatever they're showing.
Yeah.
And it's like you take that back to your main point about how the deleted footage isn't just necessarily the footage of what you see or how many takes it took for that piece.
Sometimes the hidden footage.
But the hidden footage, right? So when you look at that hidden footage, I think that's another place too where not even just about school, right? Not even just about why not being present, but like where I think my society fails at, what's contagious, is the comparison. Because when you compare, it's not that you want what they have. It's that you don't want them to see what you have. And it's like...
Hold on, say that again?
Like, it's not like if I see you, like, I'm not going to look at you and be like, yo, like, they did this so well, I want to be like them. It's that you'll try to recreate what they have because you know that if you were confident in what you had, people would look at you differently. And that's where I think that my generation gets so used to the filters, the aesthetic. And it's like even the slightest of filters, right?
So you're saying it's not so much that they always want what what the other person has. Sometimes it's just that I don't want you to see what I have.
Yeah, so it's not like even on a simple.
So I'll pursue what you have just to keep you from being able to see what I got going on.
Yeah, and it's like you see
That's
people,
crazy.
and it's like even me with clothes, right? There are people that I wear clothes all the time. I've spent a lot of money on clothes, and I've thrifted on clothes, right? But I'm in school for fashion. I'll be completely honest. I'm not rich.
Yeah.
But that's my passion. You see a mechanic, he'll put money in his car because that's his passion, no matter how much it costs.
And if you're like me, you have that good that hidden skill set where you can make broke look good.
But there's variety, right?
I make it look good. It look like it's $1,000,
Look like a little Mason Margiela.
But I could get you this look for $2.99
or $3.
Yo,
But so,
that's fire.
The real piece of it is that people will talk to me, and they'll be like, "Yo, bro, like, where'd you get this?" Right? And there have been people that like I've looked at, right, that like I thought were like the richest people ever. Like when I was trying to come up, I thought they were the realest, the richest.
Yeah.
They had everything together, right? But now I'm big, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not to the point that I'm older or that I have more than them. But it's like when they come to me, it's because it's transparent now. And it's like not to, look at it full circle. But it's like when we're close and they're transparent with the people they're close to, I don't judge them. But it's like I notice the shift in what I originally thought because of those filters. Yeah. And it's like, so my main point why I went back to this, because I want to take it deeper. I think that's why a lot of us struggle so much at keeping God first. Is because in order to keep God first, that means that he's with us at all times. And in order to acknowledge that, that means that whatever filters you're putting on for people, you can't put on for Christ. So in order to be close to him and keep him there, that means you'd have to willingly admit that he sees you when you're doing everything you don't want to be seen.
Well, you know what, man? Still trying to get deep at near the end of the show. Hey, we got to wrap up, man. But like real quick, I mean, this is the Free Lunch Podcast, free food for your soul. So at the end of the show, we try to end with something edifying for the soul, like lunch. So could you give the people, man, what do you want them to have as the takeaway? For overall, everything we discussed, what's the one thing you want them to take away from this episode? You got 30 seconds.
30 seconds from my 30 seconds?
No, you can't.
All right. If you could take anything away from this entire conversation, is I would just be just as we were, right? Like, I can't hide my facial expressions while he's right here. I have to be transparent. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a mirror, whether it's Christ, or whether it's the people that you keep in your circle, be transparent. Like, I know trust issues is real, struggles are real, everything else is real. But in order to really be real, you can't have a shade over it. And it's like if you really want to take anything away from this, like just be transparent with what you want. If you want change, if you want to really be close to God, take that and be transparent because he already sees you. So why not embrace it instead of hide from it? You could turn your back all you want, but he's whatever direction you're in. So just be transparent with not only yourself, but with your walk and with your growth, because you're only lying to yourself.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from your man, Jayden himself. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. My first podcast.
Yo, it's free lunch, free food for your soul, y'all. Peace.